For the past 3 years, the Toyota Corolla Cross has been Toyota's answer to the very popular Subaru Crosstrek and Honda HR-V. Now, as the smallest and most affordable SUV in Toyota's lineup, it has the ever-important role of attracting younger buyers into Toyota showrooms, and for 2026, we are finally seeing a fully revised Corolla Cross. It gets new styling on the outside and an upgraded interior with their latest infotainment software. So today we're actually here in Plano, Texas at their headquarters because we're finally seeing the new Corolla Cross in the sheet metal. But now that we're doing so, let's go ahead and take a detailed first look. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling differences for 2026, let me remind you guys what's going on underneath the hood. Now, this is where Toyota didn't see fit to make any changes, and that's because the Corolla Cross already has a pretty competitive set of powertrain options. The base powertrain remains the company's 2-liter naturally aspirated double overhead cam direct injection 4-cylinder, part of their dynamic force engine family. It still makes the same 169 horsepower hooked up to a continuously variable transmission with a physical first gear and available with either front or all-wheel drive. Toyota says the fuel efficiency should be the same, 32 miles per gallon combined for front-wheel drive, 30 mpg combined for all-wheel drive. This vehicle can tow up to 1,500 pounds if you guys go for the hybrid option, which the hybrid was a new addition back in 2023. This essentially borrows the powertrain from the latest generation Prius. It combines, of course, their 1.8-liter gasoline 4-cylinder with up to 3 electric motors, depending on if you go for the all-wheel drive version of this car. It makes a total output of 196 horsepower, which is a pretty healthy number, nearly 30 more horsepower versus that vehicle, and you can also get up to 42 mpg combined, which is among the best in the segment, because if you're looking for a subcompact SUV and you want it to be a hybrid, the Corolla Cross was one of the first, although it will be joined by the new Subaru Crosstrek hybrid, which we should be driving sometime later this year. I've had a chance to 0 to 60 test the hybrid versions. They do it in just under 8 seconds, while, like I mentioned earlier, towing up to 1,500 pounds, which isn't a lot, but remember, this is a pretty small vehicle and it should be the powertrain that most people want. The hybrid is typically like around a $4,000 price premium over the standard gas-only version. Well, let's go ahead and close up the hood here because the styling is what got the updates for 2026. And as you can see, this color that we're showing you here is technically a new color for the Corolla Cross. We've seen it before. It's called Calvary Blue. This is the top of the line XSE trim, which also includes the black roof option. And it certainly looks good with the updated front fascia. In fact, the Corolla Cross in general, to me, was starting to look a little bit dated, but the new styling updates that they've made certainly have freshened it a bit. You can see all of them come with the full LED headlights, which include an LED daytime running light, which I believe the higher trims have the LED turn signal with the LED projectors, with the LED daytime running, like I said earlier. Then you also have LED fog lights down here, along with their new grille for the vehicle. So you can see the hybrid has kind of like this interesting hexagonal textured pattern, along with this kind of ribbed look here for the actual upper portion of the grille. You have the Toyota logo, which houses the radar sensors for the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. And then down at the lower fascia, you can see you have some unpainted plastic cladding with some functional air intake openings. And I believe this vehicle has just over 7 inches of ground clearance. So not a lot. Toyota still kind of builds this vehicle as a more road-going SUV as opposed to a Crosstrek, which has an off-road variant. You can see behind me there, the gas-powered version has a different grille, which Toyota says they wanted this one to be a little bit more rugged. I personally think I like the look of the grille more on the hybrid model, but let me know in the comment section below what you guys prefer. It certainly is a fresher look, although I have to say there are, in my opinion, better looking SUVs in this class. The new Crosstrek, I think Subaru has nailed the overall exterior design. Now, moving around the side profile, you can see this is a heavy refresh, so the overall silhouette hasn't changed, and the Corolla Cross is actually a pretty decent size. It's not the smallest, but it's not the biggest. It's kind of in the middle with an overall length of 176 inches long with a 103.9-inch wheelbase. This is about the same size as a Crosstrek, a little bit shorter than an HR-V, I believe. You can see the wheels. These are the biggest wheels that you can get. They're an 18-inch gloss black wheel. The gas-powered version has a different design. It's riding on a 225/55 R18 Goodyear Assurance all-season tire. Like I mentioned earlier, a little over 7 inches of ground clearance. You have that cladding, of course, going along the side to give this vehicle more of that rugged SUV look. I really do think Toyota could do well if they introduced like a woodland version, an off-road oriented version of the Corolla Cross, because that's kind of where everybody is going. Give this thing an extra inch of ground clearance. Perhaps they'll think about that later on in the future. Now, looking at the rest of the profile, you can see the XSE includes these black painted side mirrors, which have an integrated turn signal. No 360 camera. You don't typically find that in this class of vehicle. But you can see with the black roof, with the sunroof, as you can see, there's no pano roof available, but I do appreciate these actual roof rail crossbars where you can actually put some stuff up at the roof if you guys want to go, put some gear up there. There's also that little trim piece here that spells out Corolla Cross in chrome at this lower D pillar area. It also has the Corolla Cross badging in the taillights. And then as you can see, looking at the rear looks pretty much the same. I don't really see too much that's different here aside from some of the new badging. You can see the XSE includes some gloss black badging. There's the new Beyond Zero badge here with the HEV, which stands for hybrid electric vehicle. The taillights, as you can see, are full LED, where you have an LED turn signal, LED brake lights, of course. You have LED third brake light, and then you can see there's a subtle rear spoiler back here with an actual rear window wiper, which is nice. The rear bumper also has some gloss black with some cladding, along with integrated parking sensors and a backup camera, of course. Now looking at the cargo area, as you can see, the Corolla Cross is one of the few vehicles in the class that actually offers a power tailgate. Now, typically you have to go for the XLE or the XSE trim to get the power liftgate, but it's nice how Toyota gives you that feature. You get around 22 cubic feet of storage space with the seats up. As you can see, there's also a little bit of storage to the side here, and you also have not really any underfloor storage, but it looks like there is no spare tire in this vehicle. Nope, it just has a fix-a-flat kit with an air compressor. So that's something that some competitors do offer. If you fold down the seats, which there's no release back here, but you basically can just reach over and then push the seats forward. Toyota didn't give us the final cargo figures with the seats down. I'd probably estimate just under 40 or just under 50 cubic feet of space. So it's not the most in the segment, but it certainly is much more practical versus when this car replaced the CHR back in 2022. But keep in mind, some competitors like the HRV and Volkswagen's Taos are going to offer more cargo space. Now on the outside, Toyota made pretty minimal changes to the styling of the 2026 Corolla Cross, but on the inside, this is also where they took a very small evolutionary approach, because really the only changes that we'll talk about is basically a new infotainment system and a new center console. But as you can see, let me remind you guys, the seat materials, these are the seats that are exclusive to the XSE trim. This is a combination, of course, of their soft text with this kind of interesting textured insert here with the contrast blue stitching and piping, which definitely looks more upscale than you'd expect for a small, more affordable SUV. These seats offer 2-level heat, and the driver's side also offers an 8-way power adjustment, but there's no memory function and no cooled seats, which you don't typically find cooled seats in this segment. So that's definitely, pretty much the norm. But I have to say, for a fake leather material, they feel pretty high quality. The seats also look good. They hold you in place nicely. So seats are often kind of what's skimped when you're looking at an entry-level car, so I think Toyota does a good job in that department. Now, getting inside, you can see with that 6 or 7 inches of ground clearance or so, this has a relatively easy step-in height. As I shut the door, the door does not have the solid-sounding thunk that I expect. It actually sounds a little tinny and hollow, which is kind of what I remember from the pre-refreshed Corolla Cross. You can see the door panel materials are soft-touch injection molded plastic, silver-painted plastic door handles, more of that accents over here for the grab handle. Window controls, they are actually one touch for all 4, which is something you don't typically find in this class. Even some higher end, more expensive vehicles don't have that, so that's nice. The steering wheel pretty much looks unchanged. It has a manual tilt and telescoping adjustment, and then you can see in the instrument panel, Toyota has added their fully digital 12.3-inch display, which is slightly customizable. I wish I had the key fob to show you guys what the screen looks, but it's pretty similar to other Toyota models. The upper dash has a hard touch plastic material there, and it's also hard touch plastic here. It is soft touch down over here, of course. Although the dashboard design itself is pretty similar to the Corollas, it just jets out a little too far. That kind of makes the interior feel cramped, but at least Toyota has now upgraded the infotainment system. So previously, the Corolla Cross topped out at an 8-inch display with their new Toyota Audio Multimedia interface. Now the XSE and XLE trims come standard with the bigger 10.5-inch display, which still includes the wireless phone connectivity. You can see there's buttons now for the volume control along with the power button. You can get this screen on the lower trims as part of an option. You can see the air vents are pretty much the same. You have dual zone climate control on the upper trims, which is nice. And then the center console, as you can see here, has also been redesigned. The previous model had a really tiny wireless phone charging pad that was kind of tucked in underneath there. Now you can see it's much larger. It looks like it actually has space for 2 wireless chargers, but I think it's only on the driver's side, as you can see. But this is just much better. Fits my iPhone 16 Pro Max nicely. You have your 2-level heated seats here, your heated steering wheel. Drive mode selector is here, of course, along with the EV button, where you can put this vehicle in a full electric mode for very short distances at light throttle applications. Gear selector looks pretty much the same. This controls your eCVT. You have a USB-C charging port here, along with your electronic parking brake. And I also like how Toyota kept from using too much piano black plastic. There's a little bit here, but this is kind of like a smaller, tasteful amount. Cup holders look a little bit different, and then the center console, you can see, is a little bit small, but you have a decent amount of storage with a USB-C and a power outlet in there. And again, this doesn't adjust, but at least it's well padded. Above me, you can see just a standard sunroof with a woven material. This actually opens up to vent air along with having a manual retractable sunshade. Headroom space is actually pretty decent. You have a nice looking digital or frameless auto dimming rearview mirror. I don't believe this car offers a digital camera mirror, which I wasn't expecting. And then there you can also get the premium JBL sound on the upper trims. The glove box you can see is a bin style. It's damped, but not lined with felt. Offers an additional covered storage. So overall, the interior still feels a little bit claustrophobic, or you could even say it feels cozy, but at least Toyota has upgraded the infotainment screens and also given us a little bit more storage here in the center console area. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat and show you guys what that space is like. Now, this is another area where the Corolla Cross is definitely falling behind its competitors, and that's because it's really small back here. Now, I mentioned earlier, the seats do have that ability to kind of fold down to create an almost flat load floor. And then if you wanna try to recline it, sadly, it doesn't have a recline function, which is not something you typically find in the class. But once I get back here, you can see this is pretty much my driving position at 5'7". And shutting the door, you can see material quality here is hard touch plastic, so it's downgraded. It is slightly padded here with the soft text where you'd rest your elbow, which is nice. There's actually a cup holder built here with silver painted plastic door handles. But overall, as you can see, Toyota says you have around 32 inches of legroom back here. 32 inches is tiny. You can typically find between 3 to 6 more inches of legroom in most of its competitors. And the floor is not completely flat either. You have rear seat air vents back here, which is kind of unexpected, along with your, looks like 2 USB-C charging ports. You have 1 storage pocket here behind the passenger seat. And then if I fold this down, you can see there's an armrest with 2 cup holders. Headroom space is actually not too bad. I have a solid, looks like 4 or 3 inches of additional clearance. So there's like kind of a cutout here that gives the passengers more headroom space if you're taller. So again, the backseat area, while it is usable for average size adults, keep in mind some competitors offer way more space, like the Taos or the Hyundai Kona, for example. So while even though Toyota was pretty late to the compact or subcompact SUV party with the introduction of the Corolla Cross in 2022, this model has proved to be a pretty popular addition for Toyota, because last year in 2024 in America, the company managed to sell a little over 93,000 Corolla Crosses. That actually was its best sales year ever, and it's starting to approach the numbers that we see from the Honda HR-V, the Subaru Crosstrek, which both of those models do between 120 to 150,000 units. And I have to say, after seeing the updates that Toyota has made to the 2026 model year, it certainly addresses some of my concerns, because the old model had one of the smaller infotainment screens in the industry. Now, of course, we have that 10.5-inch display. You still have one of the best hybrid powertrains available, up to 196 horsepower, 45 mpg in the city. It's certainly among the best. I'll be curious to see what the new upcoming Subaru Crosstrek hybrid is going to give us. And even though the Corolla Cross offers a little bit less interior space versus some of its rivals, the whole point of buying a car like this is to get a smaller vehicle on the outside. But again, I think Toyota could have done a better job with the overall packaging. Now, if you guys are looking to get your hands on the updated Corolla Cross, you're gonna have to wait until the end of 2025. Remember, this is a 2026 model year, and Toyota didn't have final pricing just yet available, but we can kind of speculate. The current model starts at around $24,000 for the gas version with front-wheel drive. The hybrid starts at around $28,000. Of course, the hybrid starts at the SE trim. There is no base L trim. So in reality, the price delta should be around $1,500. Fully loaded versions of the hybrid in 2025 can top around $36,000, while these can go around $32,000. So I imagine Toyota is going to probably keep the pricing in check, but with the increase in technology with the screen size, I wouldn't be surprised to see that model behind me get a little bit more expensive. But overall, it certainly is a nice addition, of course, with great upgrades to a very solid subcompact SUV. But for Redline Reviews here at Toyota's headquarters in Plano, Texas, I'm Sofyan Bey.